Hey everybody, Steve Chase here. I'm excited to do another video with you here. So today's video is going to be how to create a brand new QuickBooks Online file and establish a merchant account, which you can send folks and your customers invoices. They can pay you online with a credit card or bank transfer. So here we go. I'm just in the middle of the first screen when you sign up for QuickBooks. There's different versions, so you can see through the different things, Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, or Advanced. Make sure you check out my link in the description below to get a discount for your first 12 months. It should be 30%. At the time of this recording. That's what we can offer. The links below. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna just do a quick demo to show you how to set this up. So after you begin your first establishment of creating a username and password for QuickBooks, you'll be presented a series of screens like this. And for starters, you can just type in your business name here. So I'm just going to call this Alpha Omega LLC demo. Then next, what are you using QuickBooks for? You'll just kind of pick your own scenario here. So I'm going to click nothing. I'm new to this. Then I'll ask you, what industry are you in? And so let's say I'm in landscaping. Begin to type your industry. Just if you don't see one that fits, just trying to pick the best service or product-based business that you have. I like landscape architectural services. It's going to ask you what kind of entity you are. So if you have established an EIN with the IRS, assuming you're American, US based, then you're probably either going to be a sole proprietor, or if you've filed paperwork with the IRS to become election of an S Corp or a C Corp, if you know that already, you're kind of a little bit more developed in your business structure, you can go ahead and do that. The thing is, if you pick the wrong choice here, that is okay. What will matter most, obviously, is doing your tax return and doing on tax return. So QuickBooks is suitable to prepare the financials for profit and loss. This will just kind of help alongside create chart of accounts behind the scenes based on what you picked. Okay, but we can customize and modify it definitely later. Hit next. Then what's our role? I'm going to say that I'm an owner. I'm going to say it's just me. Okay, now the basics, let's keep going. What do we want to do first here? So let's go ahead and click do this first. Link account. So right off the bat, you should have a business bank account that's separated from personal, and link it so that all your transactions will be presented to you in the bank feeds for you to review and code off of that and match off of that. So for right now, I'm going to skip that for now. We can always come back to that later and link the accounts. We can have receipt capture, which is a really neat feature. You can take pictures with your phone, send it to QuickBooks. It will help you classify them and categorize them. Skip for now. Setting up payments. Let's skip that for now. I'll share with you where you go to make sure you have a merchant account and that you can do that after we get through this initial screen here. So, okay, let's say we're going to want to send and track invoices. Next. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Just going to take a little tour here so you can see that on the left-hand side are the tasks at hand. In the upper right-hand corner, we got the connection of the experts and then finish setting up. Let's imagine that we wanted to create an invoice right off the bat. We would want to have a way that folks could pay us, and we can do that through a merchant account. Okay, so on the gear icon, we would have the ability to select account and settings. This is where we're going to find our payments. Left here, payments, and you will see QuickBooks payments right here. So these are the different ways that customers can pay with an invoice that we send them, or we can enter the information ourselves and do a direct payment if we have their authorization to enter that. So we would have to activate the payments here. And to do that, this is going to allow you to enter in your information on your website and so forth. Fill out basically a little bit about your business, a little bit about yourself, and that would be your last 4 digits of your social security number. It is a contract that you would be signing that has the ability to process your payments online and deposit those into your bank account that you linked there. So you would do that. And then once you have a merchant account, once you get their merchant account, you're going to get assigned like a 16-digit character number, account number, and you'll have the ability to see statements and be able to track every single payment that comes in and what type of payment it came from, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, that kind of thing. So of course, if you want to send out a invoice, you're going to have your first customer. Let's go take a look at how we could do that. We have our invoices panel here. I'm just going to go ahead and just create our first invoice here and just do a quick demo here on the invoice here. We would have the ability to select payment options. So I know some folks want to save a little bit of money and they only want customers to pay with bank transfer. You can do that. You would have the ability, once it's set up, to toggle on or off with the credit card information. So you'll see that on the right-hand side under the payment options. You can also get folks a link so that the payments can be viewable online, and you can get a hyperlink sent to anybody, and it's a live link, so anybody could pay it. So you might not know exactly who's going to pay it. Is it the accounting department, accounts payable will pay it, or the actual founder, the owner of the business? Send a link out. You could get out an email and send a link and say, hey, here's a way to pay this invoice. Send them a link inside, like maybe a Gmail account or what have you, and that would get you in there as well. So we would need a customer. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll just call it Charlie. Put in as much information as we want here, and then I would have perhaps plans, landscaping. Let's say I'm going to do a $4,000 invoice. Save that. When we're ready to email it out, essentially we were able to get this sent out and they would have the ability to pay it online once the proper things have been set up here. So if you just got QuickBooks, really before you even get into the invoicing, set up your merchant account, probably the number one task to do is to look at your chart of accounts to make sure that it's tracking what you need it to track. Let me go there with you real quick. Gear, and then chart of accounts. That's one way to get there. Starting out with the basics, you'd want to, let's imagine you have a Chase bank account. You click new. I like to put the last 4 digits of the account number in case you have more than one bank. Imagine our Chase bank account ended in 5555. I'd enter that there. Then the account type on the right, that's going to be a bank account, and the detail type is a checking account, and save. And that'll be the one that we would link to. And super important that every month, every single month, if you can do this one from the beginning, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Reconcile. What that means is Chase Bank will send you a bank statement. We would identify the beginning balance and the ending balance. If you're a brand new business owner, you have a 0 beginning balance. You would select the bank account here. If I ended with 4,000 perfectly at the end of the month, or wherever the month might be, then I would be able to reconcile that perfectly. So right now, I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's imagine that we were able to deposit a $4,000 check payment into that bank account. So let's go run a quick report. Accounts receivable, aging summary. Here's our Charlie Smith. If he paid it online, QuickBooks will automatically close the invoice for us. But let's imagine he gave us a paper check. So we'll receive payment manually, and we will put down that it was a check, and it was check 101 for the full amount. If it was a partial payment, we could put in the amount there, and we'll deposit into payments to deposit. And the reason why I'm going to put in payments to deposit is I'm recognizing the payment when we get it, but it might not be it for a couple more days that we don't get it to the bank account. So I'm recording it in the bank deposit, in payments to deposit, and then let's fast forward. Let's imagine it's 3 days later. It's time to go to the bank and deposit, or we go bank deposit. And in there, we will see Charlie Smith. And it could be that we have some other checks as well that came in. So we would check a series of amounts to get our total up here for that. I'm going to put that for the 12th. and I'm going to put it into Chase bank account and save and close. So let's see how that looks on the balance sheet. Reports, balance sheet, and let's do it by months. Breaking this out by months. I need to fast forward because remember I fast forwarded. Let me fast forward to May. There we go. If we just look at month by weeks, you can see even days actually might be kind of cool. That's pretty neat. So on May 11th, we had $4,000 in the payments to deposit bucket, which is an asset. But then on May 9th, May 10th, May 11th, we had $4,000. Think of that just sitting, imagine just payments and deposits sitting right in front of you on your computer desk. Haven't taken it to the bank today, haven't waited 3 days. And then we put it into the bank account. So that's where the Chase Bank now shows $4,000 here. The benefit of putting it in payments and deposits is just you have a lot more flexibility when it comes to troubleshooting, cleaning up, fixing up broken reconciliations, that kind of thing. Back to the reconcile screen. Imagine it's the end of the month. We only had one $4,000 payment in that Chase bank account. When we get here, we would have the ability to assign it, and we'd have basically a beginning balance of 0 and ending balance of 4,000. We clear 4,000. This is good to go at the finish here. So that's a good feeling. Do this 12 times a year. Every time you get a bank statement, do that. Obviously, as you grow your business, you're going to have a lot more things going on, and it's going to be tempted to be like, yeah, I got money in the bank, we're good. But really, every founder owner should be in a position where if you delegate this task, you should be reviewing the reconciliation reports, and you should be looking at your bank statements every month just to help prevent fraud and help prevent anything in there that's perhaps even a mistake. There are times when banks can make mistakes, and it's up to you to report that, and you can't wait 5 years later to report a mistake. So you got to do it on a timely manner. And speaking of reports, can run a report called the reconciliation report like this, and it's going to show you the reports here just like that, and it will show you. This is a very simple one here, but it will get larger as you grow the business. If you had sales tax on it, then that adds one more layer of complexity. You'd have to actually go pay the sales tax that you've collected. And the cool thing about QuickBooks is it kind of has some neat ways to track sales tax so that you would have kind of a setup, but it does require that you tell QuickBooks you have sales tax, and it can help you with calculating those. And then when you pay it, you go in, you have to tell it paid it and all that good stuff here. So you might be interested in doing bill pays online. So now if I have a contractor that I need to pay $500 to, I would go to the expenses on the left and set up a vendor. So I would need to add a vendor. Let's imagine that I've got Amy Wilson. Okay, and she's our graphic designer. She's not an employee because she works on her own, and she gives us the scope of work. So we're going to need to send her a 1099 at the end of the year. So it's very important that we get our W-9. We read the W-9, we see how she signed it. If she's a sole proprietor, we would need to put in her social security number or EIN number and track payments like that. Super important. We put in the business ID here, security tax ID, EIN number. It's possible she's a sole proprietor and she still has an EIN number. It's a 2-7 here. Address, save it like that. And what we could do now is we could create a bill for Amy under contract labor, and I'll just put an invoice. Let's say we receive her invoice for May for $500. We can sign up for QuickBooks Bill Pay straight inside of here. So not only do we have the way to receive money through the merchant account, we also have a way to remit and send money through bill pay. So there's different plans that you have to pick and choose from basic to, which is a small amount, even free if you just have a few, up to like the full deluxe. You're sending out ACH payments or check payments a lot. So once you get into this, you'll have the ability to discover how what would fit for you. And you can always upgrade your subscription level if you're seeing that you're writing a lot more vendor bill payments and so forth as well as you go through it. So let's imagine it's the end of the year. It's time to report your income and expenses. All you got to do is go to reports, profit and loss. And we would make sure you have the date lines there. So we've got 4,000 on the top line revenue, 500 coming down. We've got 3,500 as profit, but this is accrual. We haven't quite paid that $500 bill yet. So if I switch over to cash, watch what happens when I hit run report to that contract labor. It will disappear. And that's because cash basis is what shows as being paid both on the invoice in and the bills going out. Ideally, what makes, I think, QuickBooks very special is the bank feed. So let's imagine that you have a credit card and you need to buy supplies on it, and you buy materials and software, perhaps your QuickBooks subscription that you're paying. Don't forget, discount in the QuickBooks discount I got for you. If you, in the link below will be a discount link for QuickBooks. So stuff like that, you put on a credit card, you'd want to be tracking that information and coding that as software as you buy stuff and all that. So that's where the bank feeds come in. So you would have the ability to link your credit card as well. And super important that you link that just to start capturing all that. So a lot of banks out there, most work pretty well. Again, if you have a credit card, same thing, you're going to want to reconcile your monthly statement every month just to make sure we don't have anything missing or duplicates or anything like that. Hey guys, I think that's good for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.